Hey everyone, Gretchen Wegner from the Anti-Boring Approach to Powerful Studying. And last week we unpacked the word anti-boring and talked about how the anti-boring philosophy may actually also be anti-oppression. And today I want to unpack another concept that I use a lot in my marketing and also in my work with students and educators. And that is the word destressify. So I am starting to understand that even this word can be unpacked in some very interesting ways. And in a moment, I'm going to share the one way that I want to share today. But first, I want to let you all know that this summer I have created a new free product. It's designed for parents and educators and even students, actually. And it's called the Consent Burger. And it is a 3-step communication protocol that adults can use with students when they are teaching students, or actually you don't even have to be an adult, right? You could be a teenager who is teaching somebody else something or giving advice to somebody else. And it's a 3-step communication protocol to help the person who is being taught actually consent into learning something. And you can find it at gretchenwegner.com/consent. I will be tying some concepts back to this by the end of the video, but I just wanted you to know that this is here for you and it's available for free. Thank you in advance too for your patience through my new mouth hardware and the ways that it is impeding my talking. It's really challenging for me to get used to, but I am working with it. So today we're going to talk about that destressify might also have something to do with a word I've been using a lot in the Anti-Boring Educators Club lately, which is the word de-center. And as a result of my anti-racism leadership coaching that I went through over the last year, we have started beginning all of our Educators Club calls with 3 what I call community care practices. And I just name, like, together as a community to care for each other and to foster a sense of justice and belonging together. We are going to work together to follow these 3 guidelines. And one of those 3 guidelines is the phrase decenter dominant culture. So what does it mean to decenter dominant culture? Here's a list. It's just a beginning list of some of the elements of dominant school culture. So if we think of culture as a circle, what's in the middle of the circle? And there's this term schoolishness that I'm unpacking, adultism, meaning adults being like the sources of wisdom, ableism, whiteness, Americanism or Americanness, heteronormativity, patriarchy, the gender binary. All of these are concepts that are dominant in our culture. And what does it mean to actually decenter them, to move them out of the center, and then to see what is left and what we have to work with when we are not actually trying to, what's the image that's coming to me? I'm thinking about dodging, that's it, dodging all of the expectations that come with so many of these words here. And when we have lots of expectations coming at us from outside of us, especially if they're expectations that don't necessarily match our sense of ourselves or our sense of our own culture, it creates stress. So when I first created the word destressify, I like to say, like, I help students and parents and educators destressify school and schooling. And yes, that is what we do. And I created a study toolkit and a time management toolkit that I call the anti-boring approach as a way to destressify school. But it's really important for us, and especially the adults working with students, to be looking at how we can, in order to destressify, how can we decenter some of these elements of dominant culture that we have taken for granted, that we may not need to take for granted. And one aspect of that is also how we communicate with kids. And that's why I've created this 3-step process. Everyone who gets trained as an anti-boring approach coach or anti-boring approach teacher gets trained in the consent burger. And it's a way of not just teaching at kids, but inviting them to consent into being taught. So I really hope you check it out at gretchenwegner.com/consent. And next week, we're going to be continuing on with this summer series as I continue to unpack some concepts that we've been taking for granted, in my world at least, for a long time, that I wanna complexify a little bit more. So I'll see you next week. Take care, y'all.